Hey YouTube, how you doing? 80s Wicked Hard here. I'm going to be doing a new video. I don't know if it's just a one-shot deal or it's going to be a occasionally an occurring series. But this video that I'll be doing is called Comic Theory. It's almost going to be sounds like a college class, don't it? This particular video that I'm going to do on comic theory is going to take the mythos of various comic characters or one particular character and kind of turn it on its head, get some kind of conversation going. So this version of comics theory is going to deal with something that I've played with my imagination for a while, and just something that I'm going to throw out there and see what people have to say about it. Negative, positive, I really don't care. But it's cool. I think it's cool. So if you enjoy it, enjoy it. If you don't enjoy it, whatever. But yeah. So I'll get right into it. This comics theory that I have is a character or two characters in different universes that are parallel in the way that they act, but at the same time have a lot of similarities in their value as a hero. And those two characters are Batman and Spawn. The comics theory that I'm going to present today is the fact that Batman is Spawn. Okay, so how do I explain this? You have the character Batman. In his universe, he's done a lot of cruel, unusual punishment, so to speak, in what he's done. He's very, very violent. He's very, very aggressive. And it's pretty obvious that Batman one day will probably be going to hell. I mean, you know, if you want to talk about on a religious spectrum, yeah, he's probably going to be making his trip to hell. I don't know if that's accurate, but I feel it's accurate. So, right in there, Batman will probably go to hell. And when he enters hell, he will probably be called into a Hell's army as a Hellspawn. So now you have Batman as a Hellspawn. Bruce Wayne, the character Bruce Wayne, who is actually Batman, billionaire, playboy, his Wayne Enterprises deals with military applications, but a lot of social applications as well. It's an all-in-one encompassing R&D department, so to speak, on all things, and then uses some of those lesser-known ideas in development to help bolster his Batman corporate sort of his artillery, his weapons, his suits, and stuff like that to help with the Batman crime fighting aspect of his life. So now we'll break this down. How does somebody like that, not necessarily military alone, but all encompassing R&D department billionaire, hide that from military? Well, you might have an alter ego. You might have a false identity. You may be an active service member in some aspect of the military to where you can be on the inside hiding your outside stuff from them. I break it down as Batman may be a special forces soldier. I mean, if you think about it, Batman, his abilities, his capabilities, if he were to do some sort of active duty, he'd probably be special forces. Now, take the Spawn idea, the Spawn character, the original Spawn, Al Simmons, special forces, who was stabbed in the back during one of his mercenary missions and killed and burned alive. Put the two and two together. Now, Al Simmons' character is an African American who was gone to special forces, ended up becoming a mercenary, ended up doing bad things for bad people, didn't like it, tried to get out, ended up getting murdered, sent to hell, and then becomes a Hellspawn. If you look at the parallel between the two, Bruce Wayne would be too famous of an individual to join the military. But if he were to have an alter ego or a sidekick as someone who's not Bruce Wayne, African American, from I believe Spawn is from a lower class area of the world, Those two are far, far from each other, but if you bring them together, it makes a lot of sense on the aspect of Batman's side, or Bruce Wayne's side, because he doesn't want to draw any undue attention to himself. Is it a stretch? Yes, it's an absolute stretch. But if you think about the two various worlds that these two live in, not so much of a stretch. On top of that, you have Batman's character who refuses to kill. Though he has killed, he refuses to kill. He wants crime to be punished by the law. Now take the Spawn character, and after the Spawn is a person who's already died. Spawn, the way in which he goes after criminals is much different than Batman. Or is it? Spawn no longer has any connections to the living world in the short and skinny of it all. Spawn is dead. Spawn is afterlife. Spawn is a hellspawn. In that respect, he does what is justly served in terms of punishing the wicked, meaning he knows what happens after death happens. He wants to punish them in the ways of the afterlife. Very similar to how Batman in his life would punish the wicked, but through the law of the living. Makes sense? Absolutely, I think so. So there's that aspect. And then on top of that, Spawn has the character, he rebels against hell, he rebels against heaven, he takes everything down, and he's just an immortal, almost Superman-powered like being that has a value code where he sees what's going on with the corruption of the afterlife and the various worlds of the afterlife and wants to settle things straight. Kind of similar to how Batman does things in the real world when he sees, say, Superman getting out of hand, or any of the other superpowered beings, which he is not one of, getting out of hand. He's always plotting, always thinking in his mind. So, in that respect, Batman, Spawn, could be the same guy. The reason why I bring this comic theory to this video and having, the balls to put it out there, knowing what the comics world and the fanboy world is like, is because I read a particular graphic novel called Spawn Batman Team Up Hellhound, I believe it was called. I have it over there somewhere. I'm not going to dig through it right now. But it's interesting because there have been quite a few team-ups with Batman and Spawn. But in this particular book, there was some dialogue between the two of them that made it very interesting in how they interacted with each other. It just didn't seem right. It was almost like, well, is this Al Simmons' Hellspawn or is this another Hellspawn? Why does Batman have this strange feeling about him, like he knows him or something? Batman is calculating enough to realize if he's teaming up with himself after death. Could Batman, Bruce Wayne, be Hellspawn? I don't know. They're two separate worlds. Batman's DC, Spawn is Image Comics. But, the way in which these characters were developed, especially the Spawn character, because the developer, McFarlane, is still around, has explained why he created Spawn. All the things that couldn't be done with all the superheroes, he was frustrated. He wanted to create a character that could. So Spawn, in essence, is a Batman without the restraints that Batman has. But it goes into a little bit more in the whole mythos of what ifs. And one particular what ifs is, it's almost pretty definite that Batman, after he dies, would end up going to hell and becoming a Hellspawn. And then also the fact that if Batman, Bruce Wayne, not Batman, were to need to cover his butt in order to keep his secret identity from military installations, he would have to do some inside work. Batman/Bruce Wayne would definitely be a super soldier. I mean, not a super soldier, a special forces soldier in military because of his capabilities. That's how the military works. You show what you got, they're impressed, they go, all right, you go there or there or there or there. Plus, one other little factor is that if Batman were to ever die, probably the only place that he would die, he would get killed, he would be murdered, is in that kind of military situation where he has to follow orders to the T in order not to be discovered for the Batman character. Hence, Al Simmons' Spawn character. Maybe it was a cover for him, and he got caught in it, and there was nothing much more he could do. Anyway, that's what I got for you. I'm hoping this video is good. I'm hoping this video is stimulating. It's enlightening. It's, if anything else, gets a conversation going, because it's something that I've thought about for a while now, and I was like, it's weird. It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense, but then it makes a whole lot of sense. So I don't know. I'm throwing this video out there, and hopefully comic fans can relate to it. Anyway, this is Eddie's Wicked Horror. This is Comics Theory. Like I said, I don't know if it's going to be something that I'm going to continually do, or it's just a one shot. But hey, there's other stories out there that people might want to talk about, that different universes in comics or so forth, different parallel realities of comics, where it's like, does this make sense? Does this not? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If anything else, this is Eddie's Wicked Horror. Subscribe, like, do what you want to do with the video. Anyway, peace, y'all.